Hi everyone, Katie Winkle here with There's a Balance for That, and today I want to talk specifically about what a balance is. A balance is part of a modality that's called PSYCH-K. This modality was originated by Rob Williams, who was a clinical psychologist, I believe, and he was working with a lot of patients and he was having some success, but even after years and years of work with these patients, he got to the point where he was like, you know what, they're just not making very much progress given how much time and effort we've spent together. And so it was as if this information just kind of came to him and he sat down at his computer and he started writing, and the modality that is now known as PSYCH-K came to be as a result of that. And so the first balance that he received, he started using that on himself and he started using that on friends and family, and people started really actually being able to shift the beliefs that they had from limiting beliefs into supporting beliefs. And then he started teaching, and then workshops came, and as it is now, over 100,000 people have been trained in at least the basic workshop of PSYCH-K. Now, what is a balance? Like, what is that exactly? A balance helps whoever is receiving the benefit of being facilitated. They are able to create a whole brain state around the issues that they're facing, whether those are beliefs that they have that are creating those issues, or perhaps, like, maybe let's say that somebody developed a wild allergy to cats or something, and they grew up with cats and they never had a problem with cats, and then when they were 23 years old, all of a sudden they were allergic to cats and nobody can explain it. Well, balancing is something that can help resolve that issue. So I've talked about this before. The subconscious mind is a wildly powerful, huge database, right? It stores every experience that we've had, whether those experiences are good experiences or bad experiences. It stores beliefs, it stores muscle functions, it stores everything about us, and it's what is the operating software that's making us run in our day-to-day lives. And so when we encounter a situation and we have previously been triggered by something similar in the past, like let's say, Thanksgiving is coming up. So let's talk about, everybody loves the smell of like turkey and mash, like, well, not everybody. Some people may have been triggered negatively, but like Thanksgiving dinner is one of my favorite meals of the year. And I every single time smell that turkey, I'm transported right back to childhood and having big Thanksgiving family dinners and how much fun those events were most of the time, and like the people that I got to see and spend time with and all of the things that come along with Thanksgiving. Well, I'm not remembering that, like walking in and smelling that for the first time, right? I'm smelling that Thanksgiving dinner and I'm being transported back to positive memories of that, and maybe even some negative memories of that. But it's not as if I'm walking into that event or I'm hosting Thanksgiving and it's the first time I've ever experienced that, and it's not necessarily a memory. It's a memory, but it's being triggered by the scent of what I'm smelling on Thanksgiving. And so the subconscious stores things like that for us to be able to call them up whenever those things are going to be useful to us and sometimes not so useful to us. And so when you do a balance, what you're doing is you're creating a whole brain state around the things that don't support you in life. And so frequently that could be, I'll come back to the example of cats. Like, let's say somebody develops a cat allergy at like 23 years old. And so if somebody came to see me and they have that issue, I would ask them, well, what happened when you were 23 years old? And let's say that their boyfriend broke up with them in college and it was really devastating. And the boyfriend had a cat and the boyfriend took the cat with them when they went. And it's like, okay, well, it could be that you developed that allergy to cats in order to protect you from feeling that kind of pain again, and your subconscious did that in order to protect you from the pain. And so we would identify, well, what are the limiting beliefs that may have caused the development of that allergy. It could be something like, I'm not lovable. Like if somebody believed I'm not lovable and every time they're around cats, that could be triggering their reaction to the cats. It's not the fact that the cat dander is what's causing it. It could actually be, very frequently, the limiting beliefs that are associated with a painful breakup. And so what can we do? We can create a statement, or that person that comes to see me can create a statement that says, I am lovable, I am loved, and we can check with their subconscious via muscle testing whether or not that statement is true for them. If the statement is false for them, then we would proceed to find out if it's safe for them to do a balance around that issue, and then they would balance that, and we'd see if there's anything else they need to work on around that issue. And now they have a whole brain state around that issue, meaning that the limiting beliefs that created the circumstances where they've developed this reaction to cats, those beliefs aren't really there anymore. They've all been overwritten by supporting beliefs, and then frequently the allergy or the reaction to the cats goes away and they don't have an issue with that anymore. That's not the only example I have like that. I've had success in working with my clients on things like migraines, other allergies, food sensitivities, stress, inability to sleep, all sorts of things. The options are really limitless about the things that can be balanced for. My experience in the people that have come here to see me is that oftentimes that the symptoms that they're facing aren't really the issue themselves. Those symptoms are actually representing a limiting belief that's manifesting itself as the symptom in the physical body. That's how incredibly strong and powerful the subconscious is. Remember, the subconscious doesn't have any opinions or thoughts or feelings or emotions. It just processes all of those things for us in our physical form or in our conscious reality. And so if we want to change something that's not serving us consciously, then we communicate with the subconscious in order to access the information that is supporting us or is limiting for us. And then we do what's called a balance and create a whole brain state around the issue. Whole brain state means that we have access to both the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere around the issues that we're facing. And so instead of just reacting to something out of the right hand side of the brain or just the left hand side of the brain, right? Meaning just the creative side, just the emotional side versus just the logic reasoning side. Now we have the ability to access things from the logic reason side and the creative emotional side. And so everything that we encounter is now more balanced, and our reactions are now more balanced because we're operating using both sides of the brain. When you do that, you have so much more potential to create what you want for yourself because you're accessing this massive database now, right? When we're shifting beliefs, we're not shifting just one belief to one symptom, right? We're shifting usually at least 100, like it's not even really measurable, but we're not only shifting that one issue, I'm loved. We could be shifting many, many other things besides that. And so when you start doing that, you really are creating an opportunity to rewire your DNA and rewire the genes that you have in order to support you in creating more of what you want. And don't we want that rather than just the conscious mind making decisions for us, right? Remember, the conscious mind is like a 40-bit processor per second, 40 bits per second processor, and the subconscious mind is a 40 million bit. The problem with the subconscious mind, as powerful as it is, 80% of the thoughts that are stored in the subconscious mind are negative, and 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. And so when we start to balance for things so that instead of them being negative, they're supportive, magical things start to happen. And it doesn't take very long. Usually my clients start to experience shifts in their first session. And then the longer we work together, the bigger that snowball gets towards them creating more of what they want, both in their personal lives, their romantic relationships, their work, their finances, their health, their sleep, their ability to be productive, their diet and their exercise. All of these things can shift in a really very short period of time. And so when I talk about there's a balance for that, there really is a balance for everything, and creating a whole brain state around the issues that you face on a day-to-day basis can really start to change everything that you encounter. No matter what your issues are, know that there is a balance for that. Any questions on that, or if you'd like to see some frequently asked questions that I get, take a look at my website, there'sabalanceforthat.com. There's also information about how to work with me and contact information if you have any questions. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.